Golfers, Dean with golfallyear.com, and today is a big video. This is a very important video, as any golfer looking for a golf simulator can tell you. This is a comparison of the three budget simulators. There's basically three simulators that kind of fit in the same category that I call budget simulators. There's the Optishot, there's the R-motion, and then there's the SkyTrak. And they all have pluses, they all have minuses. So I want to kind of go through each of the different things and compare each of them so that you'll have a better idea of which golf simulator best fits you. So let's get to it. All right, if you are like me, the first thing that you have to consider when you're looking for a golf simulator is the price. There are different prices. These are all budget simulators. These three I consider budget simulators, but they all have different price tags. The SkyTrak is at the top end. That is around $2,000 you're going to spend on a SkyTrak. And so depending on that, that is the simulator that you'll really have to take a close look at the features and some of the other things we talk about in this video to decide if you're going to go all the way up to the SkyTrak. Because the Optishot is around $300. That's kind of the mid-range one in terms of the budget simulators. And so around $300, you can get the Optishot. And then depending on how many clips you want to add with the R-motion, I recommend all 14 clips. You're talking around $200 for the R-motion. It has gone up in price. I saw just on Amazon the other day, and so it's around $300 now. So it's comparable to the Optishot in terms of price, a little bit lower though. So when you're considering price, you have to look. You're talking $2,000 to around $300. So really consider that as we look at some of the other features. All right, so now let's talk about ease of use and setup of each of the systems. Let's start with the Optishot. The Optishot is so simple to set up and get started and get hitting right away. All you need to do is download the software onto your computer, plug in the Optishot cord to your computer, and then plug it into the sensor. The lights will light up, as you'll see, and you're off and running, and you can start swinging with or without a ball. So the Optishot, very easy to use, very user-friendly, shall we say. The SkyTrak is pretty much the same idea. You plug in the cord to your SkyTrak sensor, and then you plug that into your computer, and then the lights will shine up. The hard part about the SkyTrak is you need to get the height and the alignment, and they will give you a ruler to kind of measure and make sure that everything is square, because everything has to be perfectly set up for the SkyTrak to be as accurate as it is, which we'll talk about later. So the SkyTrak is pretty simple to get set up once you get it going, but it does take some fine tuning to get it going. So I kind of have that second, Optishot first, and then SkyTrak second. The R-motion I thought is really kind of difficult to get set up. You have to get the sensor charged. You have to make sure that the clip is attached correctly. You got to get that set up. You got to put the sensor in. You have to switch the sensor from clip to clip, and so you have to put all the clips on all your clubs, or you have to switch the clip each time. You have to go through when you load up the R-motion, you have to start out loading up into the R-motion system, and then you have to go into the golf club, which is the software that it uses for the simulator. So it gets kind of complicated. There's a lot of steps there, and it just didn't make for an easy session of hitting golf balls. And so I think that the R-motion is the third out of the three in terms of easy use and setup. All right, let's do a quick little video on the setup of the Optishot. It's really very simple. Once you have downloaded the software onto your computer, you open it on up, and then all you have to do is take and plug in. You'll see the plug here will go into your computer, and that leads right around to your sensor right over here. You can see I have the thicker turf on there. And so you will see that the green lights will be lit up. The green light will be lit up, and the red lights, every other one, will be lit up on both of the sensors. And so once you have that, you are ready to go. You can plug in your projector into your computer and turn it on, and you are ready for the Optishot. So very simple, very easy to get started and set up with the Optishot. Here's the SkyTrak. You can see has a light that shines. I put it right there, and so that's where you'll put your ball on the mat. This is my Optishot mat. But you can see that the green light shows that it's ready to go. You can see that there's a cord, just like the Optishot, that hooks up to the computer, and then the other cord goes to the projector. And so let's come on over here and take a look here. All right, so now that you have your sensor charged, now you are going to attach your clip to your golf club. Take a look at the clip and putting the clip on. You can see that you just attach the clip right there. As I turn it over here, you can see it just screws right onto your golf club. Right here, you just turn and open that. Oops, and there it falls down. And then you just tighten it onto your golf club. And what you want to do is get this so that it lines up, get that sensor so it lines up right with the club face, so that it is in exact line with the club face. And then you'll take your sensor, okay, pull out the sensor, and then you're going to put the sensor in. This is a little tricky. You want the sensor to go in, it slides in, and you want the two little dots, see the two little dots there? You want them pointing up. So they'll be pointing up. You'll then take and you'll just tap it a couple times and get it set up. And get it so that it turns red, okay? And then you will go to your phone here. I'm going to grab my phone here, and you'll go to your phone, and we'll take a look at the app. All right, so let's talk about the features of each of these, and which I think does a better job with the features. Well, the SkyTrak I think is number one. I think the SkyTrak has the most features. The first thing is that the SkyTrak is a ball tracking system, which I like. I think you get more accurate feedback because of the ball tracking, so it has that feature. The other two are club tracking devices. But the SkyTrak also has some cool contests that you can do. The stats that it gives you, and if you get the game improvement plan, which is an extra cost, costs like $200 a year or something like that. But I think it's well worth it because it's going to be able to give you information on each of your clubs, and you're really going to be able to have some great stats and things like that. I think the SkyTrak, by pairing with the golf club also, granted that's another huge expenditure, is is pretty cool because the golf club does have some cool features with it, especially the upgraded versions. But this SkyTrak just has all kinds of neat things that it does that the others don't, in terms of some of the stats and some of the features that it gives. Now, the Optishot I think is next. The Optishot does some really cool things with its driving range. It does some cool things with being able to play different courses that are replica courses of real ones. So the Optishot, I think, has a lot of neat features there. You can see some of those features at the beginning of this video, but the Optishot, I think, is second. The R-motion just doesn't have the bells and whistles that I was looking for. Yes, you can use the golf club. It gives you, I think, 15 courses or something like that on the golf club. I just didn't think that, it does use that golf club similar to SkyTrak, but anything else I don't think it does a very good job of tracking your progress, things like that. The swing analyzer just isn't as good as some of the other things that the R-motion does. So I have the SkyTrak with the best features, followed by the Optishot, and then the R-motion. But you can kind of look at the features yourself and decide for yourself. All right, let's take a look at some of the cool features of the Optishot. One of the neat things about the Optishot is that you have a variety of options. It's kind of an all-in-one package. You can practice, you can play on the simulator, so play real rounds of golf, and you can also play online. And so let's first start out by taking a look at the practice facility. Pretty cool. You click on the driving range. I do a lot of my hitting on the Optishot using the practice range because it is such a cool little feature. You can see that it's just like any driving range. You can see that there are different pins that you can hit down the side here, which are different distances. This is 177 yards, the white one's 123, et cetera, et cetera. So I can just click on one of those and it'll take me to that pin. So this is 123 yards. If I want to hit closer, let's say I want to hit some 50-yard shots, work on my short little wedge games, all I have to do is click on the map and it does it. If I want to hit from the bunker, I can hit from the bunker right there. I can practice my putting on the Optishot. So a lot of options with the driving range. One of the really cool features that I want to show you here is the pinpoint practice range. You can see that there are circles. If I do a quick little flyby here of the hole, you can see that there are circles around the pin. And so you're trying to get it inside the white area, which is 15 feet from the hole. The green is like 30 feet, etc. And so it provides you a pretty cool little gauge. And then over here, you can see how you have done in terms of how close you've gotten to each of the pins. And so the number of shots you've hit, the percentage of shots that you've hit that are inside 15 feet, 30 feet, etc. Now, if you want to do some driving, so I'll click over here on the far pin, pull out my driver, and now I put the lines on here, okay? And now you can see that there are lines, so it now represents the fairway, and so I can try to keep it inside the fairway, see and see a percentage of shots that I'm hitting in the fairway. So a really neat way to practice with the Optishot, and that's one of the cool features of the Optishot. So let's take a look at a couple more. All right, another cool feature of the Optishot is the if you want to play a simulated round, and so they have tons of options here. If you go up to the game type, you can play all kinds of different games: stroke play, match play, even skins. You have alternate shot and best ball. So a bunch of different games you can play. You can customize your round if you want to play the front nine of a course, or if you want to play certain holes on a course, you can do so. So you can pick which holes you want to play. And then it has a bunch of different courses. It gives you 15 courses for free, and then you pay for any others. You can see that there are premium courses that you can pay for. All these courses are replicas of the real courses. They just have different names, and so you can kind of find out which they are. Torrey Pines reminds you of that. Each month or each week during the Masters, they bring out Sweet Magnolia here, this one right here, which is Augusta National. And so you can play Augusta National for free. And then they have other courses that you can pay for. So pretty cool little number of courses. And then if you go down to player setup, you can play up to 4 different players. You can change the tees that they hit at. I always like to play from the par 3 tees, and so they'll actually put every hole at a par 3 distance. But you can change your shot type, your tees, and even your clubs. So a lot of variations in terms of what you can do with your golf. And so let's take a look at the Sweet Magnolia and what it looks like here in terms of the graphics and the courses that you can do. So you can play this course during the week of the Masters. Okay, here's the first hole at Augusta. They'll take you down through. what it looks like. Pretty cool. And then you can actually play that hole. You can even play any of the holes you want by skipping around. So neat feature of the Optishot is the courses that you get, and then the added courses that you have an opportunity to use. Another neat feature of the Optishot is it actually tracks all your shots that you hit with the Optishot. And so any shot you hit will be tracked, and you can see all your statistics in one spot. You can see if you've been improving from month to 2 months to 3 months to all time. You can change the club that you hit, so you can check and see how you're hitting each of your clubs. And so neat deal. Not all the golf simulators out there actually track all your shots and all your data. So this is a neat little feature of the Optishot. One last feature of the Optishot is the online play. Now, this does cost a little extra. It's $50 for the mini tour, which gives you a couple tournaments and some things. And then it's like $100 for the pro tour, which gives you, I think, 4 tournaments a month. So you can do a bunch of different things here. You got your tournaments that you can get. And if you play in tournaments and play peer-to-peer rounds, you will also get a handicap. You can see my handicap is 5.7 on the Optishot. That's nowhere near what I really am. And then you can also play games with your friends. If your friends have an Optishot and you're both online, you can actually hook up together and play different courses and play rounds together, which I've done a few times. And when you play those rounds, they'll add to your handicap. And then they also have close to the ping competitions every once in a while. So the online play is another feature of the Optishot that sets the Optishot apart. All right, and so here's kind of the main screen of SkyTrak. You can see you can practice. There's some challenges that you can do closest to the pin. Also, which is very important, which would be what I would get, the game improvement feature, which actually costs an extra fee per year. You can also get golf courses that and play actual golf courses, but those also cost a little bit per year. And so this is the SkyTrak. Okay, let's take a look at the main menu of the golf club. You can go right ahead and tee right off. You can set up what you're going to play. A lot of the other ones over here are for online play that costs extra. But if I click on play, I can play around. These two, the tour and the tournaments, are again online modes. If I click on the round, I can change my character here. Okay, I can edit my player, which is kind of cool, who I want to be. I can change my pants and my gloves. Okay, I can change my hat to a different color, so to speak, right? Okay, let's go there and change my shirt. So for those that like to do that, you can really kind of change and edit your golfer to however you like. Okay. Once you are there, you can choose your course. You can see the different courses. Here's the par 3 course. Here's Pinehurst number 2. Gives you a handicap. It gives you all kinds of different things. If you click on all courses, you can scroll through and you can actually see the ratings and get them so that you can filter by all kinds of different things, handicap, etc. There are 15 courses that come with this, and so a lot to play with, a lot to kind of get you going. And again, if you wanted to get into the online play, you get all these different things: course competitions, course designers, playing against other people online. So pretty good deal with the golf club as the software used by R-motion. All right, so now let's talk about accuracy. Anybody that's going to look for a golf simulator is going to be concerned about accuracy. And so this is a very important topic. And I think when, after hitting on all three of the simulators, the SkyTrak just replicates my swing the best. I think it's the most accurate. I know they've done tests with the TrackMan, which is the $25,000 simulator, which is supposed to be the most accurate simulator, and they found that SkyTrak isn't too far off. Certain categories it is, and certain parts of the data, but for the most part, it's right on. So the SkyTrak, you can't go wrong with the SkyTrak in terms of accuracy. In terms of the Optishot and the R-motion, because they only track the club, you are going to get some inaccurate data because they are calculating things from the club. And so what the club does, it will track those things. I feel that the Optishot is more accurate with those two sensors right there. The club passes over those two sensors, and that kind of gives you your club data, and then it calculates it from there. I think it's more accurate than the R-motion because the R-motion, there are too many variables, I believe, in the R-motion sensor. You have to get the clip set in the right length for the club. That really matters. If you don't have it set at the right length, it will change the distances. It also has to be aligned just correctly. A lot of times it would slide around and I have to readjust it and get it. And so I just don't feel that the R-motion is as accurate as the Optishot, and the SkyTrak, I think, is the most accurate. I have some examples of all three when I hit all three together. Just take a look at the Ballflight and you can decide for yourself. All right, so the next category we need to look at is your swing data. Which of the simulators gives you the most swing data and which gives you the best swing data? Well, we talked about how SkyTrak tracks the ball, and so it gives you a lot more data than the other two. With that said, I believe that the Optishot, even though it doesn't give you as much of the swing data, it does a better job of giving you the club face angle and the swing path, which are the things that determine your ball flight. And so I really like the Optishot in terms of those two um, pieces of data. I also like the Optishot in terms of that you don't have too much data that you get overwhelmed, especially as a beginning golfer or an average golfer. You don't want to get um, really in too deep with some of the data that some of the other analyzers and simulators give you. Now, with that said, the SkyTrak and the R-motion do give you a lot of different pieces of data. The R-motion will even give you some of the ball data and some of the club data, but how accurate are those since it's only tracking the club? So that's something you have to weigh. I like the simple club face angle and swing path, and Optishot also gives you tempo, and that you get into the SkyTrak, you're getting into launch angle and spin axis, and you're getting into a lot of smash factor, and so you're getting into a lot deeper pieces of data. And as you get better, yeah, I think that that's great. But at my stage, I just like to know my club face angle. Is my club face closed? Is my club face open? And I like to know my swing path, making sure I'm getting a good swing path. I think that is the makings of good ball striking. But to each his own. If you really like a lot of data, SkyTrak or R-motion will give you a lot of data. Optishot will give you a lot less data, but it gives you that club face angle and swing path much better than the other two. So that's my opinion on that. Let's move on to the next category. All right, Optishot with its data is it is a system that tracks only your club, and so then it will calculate from what your club is doing. It'll then calculate all the ball flight and the distance and those things. But what it'll show you here over here is you will get your club speed. Okay, you will get your face angle, your path. You'll get the distance hit and left to the pin. You'll also get a tempo reading, and you'll get whether you hit it in the center of the club, off the toe, or off the heel. And so Optishot really keeps it simple, and I like that about the Optishot because I think it's really easy to get caught up too much into data when you are hitting on a golf simulator. And so Optishot keeps it simple. Two important stats that I think anybody can use, and I think Optishot does the best of any of them, is face angle and swing path. Those two are very important in terms of your ball flight and your shots and shot shaping. So Optishot keeps it pretty simple in terms of the stats that it gives you. Now, you will get a system where you will get to choose your club here. I can choose my club and see what my averages for each of my shots actually are. And so you can see the current session. I haven't hit any balls here. So this will load up and you can see your longest shot, your shortest shot, your average angle, face angle, and distance. And so it's great for actually working with your improvement of your golf swing. You can also edit, take out swings, and you can actually even export all the data to a file, and so then you can put it in a Word document and sort it and all kinds of cool stuff if you really want to get into the data. So Optishot, I think, does a really good job of giving you the data that is very important to your swing. All the cool stuff and all the cool data that it does. It is a ball reading machine, which means that it only reads the ball, unlike the Optishot, which only reads the club. So this is going to give you ball data, while the Optishot gives you club data. And so you can see right there that up in the upper left-hand corner, you can see right here, this is where it gives you the distance. It gives you a carry distance, which is neat to have. It also will give you the total distance, and then you can see your average using each of the clubs. There is the shot tracker. You can see down here some of the stats that it gives. It gives a launch angle, okay, of the ball. It also has the backspin, which is kind of cool to look at, so you can really see how well you're hitting it. You can also see the ball speed, okay, that's how fast the ball is going, and then the club speed is over here on the right. You will also see that it has side spin, that it'll show you what the ball is doing in terms of spinning sideways. And then this is the swing path over here. You can see the arrows pointing to the right. That would mean it would be an inside out 4-degree swing. And then you can see where the ball starts out over here. I'm going to click on some of the other cool stuff. You can see this is the driving range, where it will show the shot tracer and how far you hit it and the trajectory of the ball. All right, some of the other cool stuff, you can see that if you click right over here on the right, you can get your shot history. And so I'm going to click that here and get the shot history. Here's all the data that you need. If you are ready to geek out with some data, this is where you want to go. You can see all the cool stuff. You can select it, delete shots. You can look at the flight, the ball. Okay, you can see the ball, the flight, and also the club there. You can start new sessions. You can export it. all that cool stuff. You can also see your stats and averages. This is average yards. And so similar to the Optishot, you can see some of that data. All right, here's 5 shots with the SkyTrak using my pitching wedge. You can see the different data that it gives me. The comparison of each shot, you can do it by ball, by flight, or by club. So pretty cool. All right, let's talk about the R-motion data that it gives you. It is a club tracking sensor. You can see that it will give you the club head speed, face angle, club path, angle of attack, which is kind of nice, and tempo. You also get some ball data that is calculated. You get ball speed and launch angle and even backspin. If you click on the history, it also will show you the history of each of your shots, ball speed, ball data, and also club data. And so you can scroll through all your different shots. It just doesn't do one of the things that in terms of organizing it into an average or anything like that. I couldn't find anything like that with the R-motion, but does give you a lot of data, a lot of different data that you can use. All right, let's talk about a category I like to call frustrations. These are things that just kind of wear on you using these simulators through time, and they just kind of bother you. The Optishot, let's start with that. It has some things that can really frustrate you, and many people don't like the Optishot because of these things. One is that because it only tracks the club, you can top a ball or miss-hit a ball, and it still will fly like a normal shot would. And so this can be very frustrating because you know you topped it, you know you didn't hit a good shot, yet you still, on the Optishot, you'll see a good shot come out. And so that can be very frustrating. Another frustration with the Optishot is sometimes if you hit too much on a downward swing, you will all of a sudden get a 300-yard shot. And so it can be very frustrating when those things happen. You just have to be ready to use a mulligan or just ignore it. Other frustrations when you're on the course, I have an example here I'm going to show you, is if you get in trouble behind a tree or in the woods, it's not very realistic. And so that can be a big frustration. Also the putting on Optishot. I tried to not putt on the Optishot unless I'm just practicing my putting because it's not super realistic. I do like the reading the green part, how they have the green set up to read them, but the putting just doesn't seem realistic to me. So those are some frustrations with the Optishot. Okay, so now let's talk about the SkyTrak. The SkyTrak, the biggest frustration I have with the SkyTrak really is the lag that it takes, 2 to 3 seconds before you will swing. It'll take 2 or 3 seconds before the ball will actually leave the club. And so you kind of got to get used to that lag and, really kind of put it out of your mind in terms of that. You will get some mysteries where it won't read the ball at all, unlike the Optishot where it'll actually read it and give you a crazy shot. The SkyTrak just won't read it at all. So I did have a few of those. Setup can be difficult. You got to really fine tune it and get it really set up. And then the last thing that really frustrates me about the SkyTrak, and one of the reasons I just can't upgrade is because they charge you for everything. They charge you for the game improvement plan. They charge you if you want to go and do the golf club. And so if you want to actually have it as a simulator where you're playing real rounds, you got to pay, I believe it's like $500 a year. So the extra charge is a big frustration for me. All right, so now let's talk about the R-motion frustrations. And the frustration I have with R-motion starts with the clip system. I just am not a big fan of the clip system. The clips break. They're really easy to break. They're hard to put on. You have to put all 14 clips on your clubs. And so now if you don't have all 14 clips, you're switching the clips around. You have to move the sensor every time you want to change clubs. If you don't get the sensor in just right, I've had it fling across the room. So the clip system is just not something that I want to take on. for my golf simulator. It just kind of makes it a little bit cumbersome. Other than that, the frustration I have with the R-motion is if you don't get that sensor just correctly, it's not going to read accurately. And so I've been using the R-motion and I can't seem to hit any type of shot that moves to the right. I'm always hitting a draw. It's always putting it on the left side of the fairway. Now, I do hit a draw a little bit, but I hit just as many fades. And so just kind of the ball flight and things like that were very frustrating to me with the R-motion. Okay, here's one of the frustrations. One of the clips broke right after I got it. Also with the clip, I didn't put the sensor in tight enough and the sensor flew off. And at one point I had to search for the sensor. It took me about a half an hour to find it. I would hate to be on the driving range and have it fly off and go into the driving range. So little frustrations with the R-motion clip system. All right, so overall, if you are looking for a golf simulator, to me, it really comes down to, do you want to spend over $2,000 for a simulator? If you do, if you're willing to put the money into it, if the accuracy and the features are what you want and you want to spend money on that, you're not afraid to pay per year the $500 extra and the $200 for the game improvement plan, the SkyTrak is the way to go. I would love to upgrade to the SkyTrak. That's kind of my goal, but budget-wise, it just doesn't make sense for me. Now, with that said, the Optishot, I think, is the next best option. I enjoy my Optishot. It has helped me improve my game. I've had the R-motion for about 6 months now, and I just don't use it anymore. It just frustrated me with all the clips and things like that. Even though it's a little bit less expensive and you can get into it for about $200 or so, I think it's well worth to go with the Optishot. The Optishot you can't beat for the price. For $300, you're getting everything that you need. Yeah, there are some frustrations with it, but with that being said, if you can get through those frustrations and get through some of the pieces there, I think the Optishot provides a way to get better, provides you some fun to play some rounds and some things like that. So overall, it's about money. SkyTrak is the deal. If not, the Optishot would be my next choice. So love to hear what you think, what your opinions are. Please post down below. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to help golfers get better at golf, and I got a bunch of videos on the different simulators and training aids and just ways to improve your golf game. I'm trying to break 80 consistently. I hope you are too. All right, have a good day.